Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson. Today on the Tech Abilities Show, I'm joined in the studio with Serena Gilbert and Rocky Gomez. And new additions to the Tech Abilities team, we have Jesse Anderson and Lisa Salinger. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about a new dynamic tactile device from APH and Humanware, and a new constant contact cane tip called the OmniSense. We'll have a discussion on the accessibility of the Peloton bike. We'll talk about the iOS 15 public beta being released, and the AirTag notification that if you leave something behind. A discussion about the Safari address bar being moved. And will Clubhouse die the death of Google+? What's the latest in audio description? What's new at the San Francisco Lighthouse for the blind and visually impaired and the Adaptation Store? And for all you low vision gamers, Jesse will be talking about Illegally Sighted. And all that's being done on his YouTube channel, the new Hadley website, and a little bit about Jeff's blind hockey journey. And much, much more, bridging the gap between the topics. We have quite a conversation. And if you want to be a contributor and leave some feedback to the show, give us a call at 612-367-6093. We'd love to hear from you. And wherever you listen to podcasts, be sure to subscribe to Blind Abilities. Yes, that's 2 words, Blind Abilities. So without further ado, let's get on with the show.
And way better.
See?
Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to get some water. Be right back.
It doesn't sound like Bluetooth. That's what I like about them. If you didn't tell somebody you were on a Bluetooth headset.
No, I'm using a wired one now, but I'm using it.
Okay, Marlon, I'm off. I'm so glad that you love the cookies, and I'm so glad you like the new Lori abilities. I'll see you later.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, excuse me. Hey, Lori.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Oh, hey, Marlon, what the...
Oh, hi, Joe.
Who put the table?
Oh, yeah, she moved it.
What's with the table?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where's the refrigerator?
Oh, yeah, she moved that too.
Who the heck is moving everything?
Lori. She's moving everything. She's even calling it Lori Abilities.
Lori Abilities? It's blind abilities.
Well, I kind of like it. When she moves everything around and she made these cookies, so, you know. Wow.
Marlon, you sold me out for a cookie.
Jeff, how could you? I wouldn't sell you out for a cookie. I sold you out for 3 cookies.
Oh, jeez. Well, so be it. You won't be needing this.
Hey, you can't just... what am I going to drink
your
with
cookies,
these
Marlon.
Cookies? I have
Hope
no
you
milk.
can make up with that goat.
Aw. Hey, goat. You got milk, don't you? I'm sorry for throwing in the water the other day, but can I just get a little thing? Just a little squeeze? Something? Just to go with the cookies? Nothing?
Lori abilities.
They don't sound like Bluetooth.
No.
Cool. Are we waiting for anybody else, or was I the holdup?
So, Jeff.
All right.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, that answers our question.
You guys are pretty anxious right out of the gates here. You guys are kind of...
I told you. I texted you, like, was it last week? I was like, we need to get back in.
We need to do it. And we need to do it because it's like, I'm going to perish. Wait for 17 hours. I'm fading. Oh. Let us not talk falsely now. The hour is getting late.
East Coast, West Coast, Mountain Time, and Central Time. We got it all. We're all ready then, right?
You literally do have every time zone. That's awesome. Minus Alaska and Hawaii.
Oh, rub it in. We were doing good there for a minute. All right. Live from the Blind Ability Studio. Welcome to Tech Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson. And with me in the studio, we have Serena Gilbert. How are you doing, Serena?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Thompson's doing just splendid.
Speaking in the third person there.
Well, you know, I got to edit myself, so it's nice that I'm talking to someone, at least. I feel, you know. And coming from the West Coast, we got Rocky. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Didn't you just hear me talking to Serena there?
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing splendid. Serena's doing pretty good.
Fantastic.
And with us from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Wait, is it Minneapolis? I know it's Minnesota. Close enough. We got Jesse Anderson. How you doing, Jesse? Welcome back.
I am doing all right, actually. And yeah, it's actually St. Paul, but, you know, close enough for government work. And I can say that because I work for the government, so hey.
The Twin Cities. There we go. And from the East Coast, way over there. I would say it's the East Coast, but it's the Eastern Standard Time. We have Lisa Salinger. How are you doing?
I don't even want to go there. After the last two, I'm doing just fine. I was going to say something smart aleck like, oh, if I were any better, I would be twins. But I'm afraid that Jeff with his pronouns would have issues with that. So
I will apologize to Rocky. I didn't mean to jump on you like that. It was just there.
He always does.
Right.
I'm getting used to it. I'm here so that you have somebody to.
How else would we know if you like us?
There you go.
There you go. There you go. There you go. It's all good. No worries.
Jesse, welcome back. You were on for a few shows back, and we decided to break it wide open and bring Jesse and Lisa on. So, Jesse, how's everything going at State Services for the Blind and, well, your neck of the woods?
It's actually going pretty well. Work is kind of picking up again. We're starting to open up things a little bit, kind of getting back. Hopefully, we're going to be able to work quite a bit from home, but, getting out in the community and being able to see customers again and go into the office every once in a while. But work is going pretty well. And then, several side projects and stuff this last month, as the topics tonight will show. A lot of games and accessibility and just all kinds of stuff over June. So I've been quite busy doing other stuff as well, but it's been fun.
Oh, that's great. Lisa, how about giving us a little something about yourself?
in the last year and a half or so, I have been battling with COVID long haul. Some days are better than other days, but I feel like I am painstakingly ever so slowly getting better, and so I'm able to do more things, get out a little bit more. In February, I moved down to Harrisburg. Not that it's really relevant right now, but the winters aren't quite so brutal, and I'm closer to family, and mom and dad are getting older, and so I want to be around to help if I can. And this Sunday, I may get to go to an actual real-life concert. It's outside in a park. I'm hoping it works out. Can't wait. It's been a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope everything moves from east to west, because then pretty soon I'll be able to go. Then Serena will be able to go. Then Rocky, sorry you're last, but you'll be able to go to a concert. That's if it travels like the sun rises.
You know, it's funny that you say that, Jeff.
What's that?
Because I was supposed to be at a Halsey concert on July 27th or something, so a couple weeks from now, but she canceled it because of COVID, and she's like super pregnant right now.
Oh, that'll do it.
So
That's
thanks for rubbing the salt in there, Jeff.
What's the difference between pregnant and super pregnant?
Super pregnant means that any day now we'll hear Halsey had her baby.
Pregnant is, I'm going to have a baby. Super pregnant is, please get it out of here now.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Baby.
Why do guys need this stuff explained?
I don't know.
Never mind.
Jeff should definitely understand.
Is this gal-splaining?
Why? Has he had? I don't think I want to know. How many babies have you had, Jeff? Is there something we don't know?
I do know something about...
He's changing the subject completely.
There's a dynamic tactile device, and I thought Rocky would be all up on this. APH and Humanware are coming out with this device. It's kind of like, if you remember, they came out with a graffiti thing a while back, and what it's supposed to do is be able to give you imagery, which I've always had I just didn't ever jump on that bandwagon of a flat device showing me, a Thanksgiving dinner with the Native Americans and the Pilgrims or something. I didn't get it that much, but they seem to be pairing up again. I mean, they've come up with a lot of good stuff, APH and Humanware, and this is another device that's on the horizon.
Yeah, this is exciting. It's a multi-line Braille display, and for so many people that had experience with Braille displays, there have been a number of kinks to try to sort out. The refresh rate was pretty slow, and so many things have been prototyped, but we haven't really seen anything come to the market. So I'm excited about this too. I think it's going to be a big game changer, especially for people that are using graphic. It does kind of tie in really nicely with some of the graphic and mapping and stuff that we do. So I'm really excited about it, because I always think about downloadable things like maps and things that could be made available. That's pretty cool. If they can get the price point down to something affordable, I think it has a lot of potential, especially for students in the classroom.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think for students especially, that could be something that would be really useful, just trying to represent for science and math and all those
STEM,
types of classes. Yeah. Exactly. And I know they had the graffiti a while back, and I saw that at CSUN a few years back. And then what was that other?
The Canute?
Oh, that's what it was. I was going to say that other tablet.
And I saw a prototype that was made by Orbit Research, and That was really cool because you could either do Braille with it, the dots were slightly larger, or you could do tactile graphics. You know, in this case, really touching it was believing because I saw how neat it was to have like a bar chart represented or a map. And the one thing that this did was you could draw on it with your finger and it would bring up the dots. And that's when I learned all over again how much I really have no business drawing. He's like, well, just draw a smiley face. And my poor smiley face looked like it had a stroke. But, you know, it was really cool that it could be done. And if you had the graphics files, you could put them in. So again, students or anybody in STEM, anybody needing to see things in a tabular or non-linear format.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. It's neat that they're exploring this. They've come up with some great stuff so far, so be interesting to see where this goes in the future. A dishwasher-safe cane tip. I mean, I was shocked at this. The Blind Chef actually endorses this, and it's the OmniSense cane tip from Omnia. It's a roller constant contact cane tip, but Rocky, would you put a cane tip in your dishwasher? I'm just curious.
So I saw that in the advertisement. The concept here is a freewheeling cane tip that kind of can be pushed in all directions, sort of like a caster. So I don't know how good it is at detecting changes, subtle changes in the terrain. I know it'll roll over a boulder pretty well, but I don't know that you're going to pick up those subtle cracks in the sidewalk, or if you're looking for that edge of the train platform, you know, you may want to slow down because the roller tips can go freely in all directions. But one of the things that they say is that it's dishwasher safe. It left me a little bit speechless. I mean, I think it's wonderful that all parts can be cleaned, although I want to know whose dishwasher we're going to put it in, because I certainly wouldn't want to put it in.
What's that I just swallowed from the bottom of my coffee cup? Oh, that was what was on my cane tip before I put it in the dishwasher.
Oh, that came off my cane. That's not coffee sludge. That came off the streets. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's good old sidewalk sludge there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. What would it do to your dishwasher?
Yeah, that just does not sound appetizing at all.
No.
I don't care about my dishwasher. I care about the stuff I eat and drink out of. Ooh, no.
Agreed.
Yeah. I can't even put my dog's dishes in the dishwasher with my dishes, much less a cane tip that came off. I think the concept is wonderful, but I did a double take. Who puts their cane tip in the dishwasher? Not me.
No, that just sounds all kinds of wrong.
And some of those are a little hard to get off the cane. Well, how do you even decide, all right, it's time for this thing to be cleaned, knowing that the next mud puddle, it's toast all over again?
And then, too, you might say, oh, this is getting kind of nasty. There's a lot of gunk on here. I'm going to rinse it off in the sink or outside with the hose. That's one thing. But, it's getting time for the dishwasher.
Sorry, you can't just rinse it off. It's not rinse safe.
I know some people that would just slap it in the dishwasher, dirt and all, and say, well, they said I could put it in the dishwasher. And that just frightens me to no end. It just calls up all kinds of badness.
Reading this article, and there's a link in the show notes, I have to wonder if getting these wheels, these omnidirectional moving wheels, dirty is a problem, because not only do they mention to put it in a dishwasher for easy cleaning, they also mention that when he was on the beach, that when it gets dirty or sand built up in it, he just dips it in the water and rinses it off. Just makes it wonder how much of a problem that will be or is, with the, as you say, the sidewalk sludge.
Sidewalk sludge, man.
Interesting that the Blind Chef is associated with putting a cane tip in a dishwasher. It's just like,
I feel like they should call it the incongruity cane tip, because I haven't seen it to evaluate it, but why the dishwasher and why a blind chef? Why not a mobility teacher or a mountain climber or whatever? I'm picturing, and I don't even know who the blind chef is, but I'm picturing him stirring his bechamel with his cane tip. Yes!
Cutting his pasta noodles.
Making gravy with the OmniSense going, I should put this on my cane. This would be a great... Or like the pot boiler, that thing that you put in the pot that's supposed to rattle around when it boils.
It has an attachment that turns it into an immersion blender. So you stick it in there and you press a button and... soup's done.
We're getting awfully close to the Ronco cane tip at this point.
It's interesting. Teflon coated.
And if you act now, you get the Jinzu cut knives as well. And they, too, are dishwasher safe by Ronco. I think everything has a good purpose for it. I've seen at conventions where I see where that would be nice because you're just kind of moseying through the exhibits or something, and it's usually carpeted or something. So it's fine. You're not really aggressively moving about, like late for work.
It might be great. It might be great. It's really hard to know without trying it out. It might be great. And there are some really bizarre canes and tips out there.
We're just poking fun at the dishwasher part of it, and we got off track here, but it'd be nice to try. I guess, like all the products that we talk about. I got links. We'll put them in the show notes, so if anyone wants to check it out, that's the OmniSense.
We'll update you when it comes. We'll update you.
I am curious because it said that it gives vibration type feedback, correct? So that's the part that kind of intrigues me, is to maybe see what that extra feedback would look like with it.
Well, I heard some feedback from a Peloton bike that you couldn't even get on the next day. Tell us about that accessibility. Man. And I got a link to your blog that you put out. That was a good blog too.
Thank you. About a month ago, we had our Peloton bike delivered. And for those that don't know, a Peloton bike, it's a stationary bike, it's a spin bike, and it has a massive touchscreen tablet essentially mounted to it. We purchased the Bike Plus, which has a more massive touchscreen mounted to it because of some of the extra features that it offered. It has way better, I think the regular bike has 2 rear speakers and that's it. Whereas the Bike Plus has 4 speakers and a sub, and it also has the ability to auto follow the workouts so that your resistance automatically adjusts as the instructor is adjusting the resistance and everything. So the touchscreen comes with a built-in screen reader now. It's just TalkBack basically, and it allows you to navigate everything within the Peloton ecosystem completely just with TalkBack. It's pretty darn awesome. For the record though, I've ridden 26 times now in about a month, which is pretty good. And the reason I couldn't get back, over the weekend I tried a different workout where it was a bike boot camp where you ride the bike, then you do these core exercises which involved a massive amount of toe touches, and then the next day I was like, my legs are killing me, I can't walk, and my back hurts, and it took me a day and a half to figure out that was the exercise that caused it. But I got back on yesterday. I got back on, so it's awesome.
Are they really descriptive? Do they give you good description of what to do and stuff?
The cycling classes, there's not a whole lot of describing they have to do because they tell you where your cadence needs to be, and you start to learn kind of, because the cadence is on the screen, and every 2 minutes or so, it'll just automatically announce your cadence, resistance, and your output, which is how hard you're working essentially. Really, with the classes, you're either sitting in the saddle or you're not. And it's about how fast you're moving and what the resistance is. So there's not a whole lot of describing with that. When I did the bike boot camp, that core part was difficult for me to follow because they would be like, all right, do Russian twist. And I'm like, I don't know what a Russian twist is. But then I've had other ones where they were more descriptive. I think it just depends on the instructors. Your mileage may vary, I guess. But I mostly do the actual cycling classes, which get you a pretty darn good workout.
Now, with the Plus, that's what you have. When they increase the resistance, it automatically adjusts it for you.
Mm-hmm. You have to, when you enter the class, there's an auto follow toggle you have to turn on. I wish that they would make it where you can just have that just always on, but you do have to turn on when you first enter the class. And then they'll be like, all right, turn your resistance to 60. And if you're like, heck no, the knob is right. It's very easy to turn it down. It's to adjust the resistance. It's not on the touch screen. It's just a knob.
So you've done that once or twice?
A few, yeah. I've cursed at the instructors, and one of the instructors. So my 2 favorite instructors are Allie Love and Cody Rigsby. And Allie Love used to be a dancer, so she is a very hard instructor. And she's there was this one where every time that the artist said "yeah," you had to add to your resistance, and it was the Usher song "Yeah." It was horrible. Oh. And she's like, I know you guys are cussing at me. I'm like, I sure was. And then Cody Rigsby, he is just, oh my gosh, so hilarious. He's always talking about food and always has the most funny thoughts about things. Very motivating. He's my favorite one. That's the one that I go to when I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, but Cody can motivate me.
It's always great to have someone motivating. I'm wondering, well, you mentioned the bike has just speakers in the rear. Is that they're behind you saying faster, faster?
Yeah, I don't know what it would sound like. I would think it'd be super weird to only have the sound coming from behind you. Because, I don't know. Like, yeah, we intentionally got the larger one because she was like, this one has a sub. And I was like, sold. It is significantly more expensive, though. Like, the regular bike, I think, starts at like $1,895. And the Bike Plus is, I want to say, like $23.95, $24.90, something like that. But it also lets you, the Bike Plus, in the on-demand classes, it doesn't work in the live ones for some reason, or I haven't figured out how, I don't know. You can sync your watch to it. You just open workout and kind of wave your watch in front of where the camera is, and it will say, like, it detected the bike, and you just hit OK, and it tracks your workout automatically. So it'll get, like, your heart rate and your stride score and all that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How can it do that with the watch, though, if your hands aren't moving, or are they?
So it's pulling the metrics from the bike.
Okay.
The watch is feeding your heart rate to the bike, and then the bike is feeding,
Of
like,
course,
how
that
much
makes
your
sense.
distance and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Because it won't work for all the classes. Like, when I did that boot camp one, which was cycling and core, it was like, you can't sync your Apple Watch to this one. I was like,
Yeah, because it's a...
because of the two different
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So it sounds like if you had to do it again, you would.
Oh, yeah, totally. The first week was rough, though. I'm not sure if any of you have ever sat on a, like, spin bike, but it is not like your bike you would have had when you know, if you ever rode, like, even a tandem or something. That seat is uncomfortable the first week. You're like, oh my God. Like, right now we have a gel pad on it because my husband just cannot get used to the seat. I got used to it after about a week and I was fine. But right now there's like a gel cushion on it, and that does help significantly.
Poor Chucky.
Yeah, I've been doing, especially in the last month or two, I've really kind of gotten back into drumming, actually. And that is, they don't, unfortunately, they don't have a custom workout for that on the Apple Watch. But I just do
just put it under other.
That's what I do.
Play Wipeout again.
But that's a funny thing, though, is, no, you actually get a good, good drum stool. And it does, actually. Like, I remember when I really started getting back into it, I went from, I try to do about a half an hour, and now I kind of range anywhere between like a half an hour, and I pretty much do it every day, and I love it because, you're just doing it to music, and, it's just a good way to be like, oh, well, build up your random playlist and try to learn new songs and play along, and yeah, it's kind of a fun workout, and I really find myself enjoying it quite a bit.
I would never think of that as a workout. But it's so obvious, but I just, very cool.
There's actually a type of workout, I think it's called pounds, but it's a workout that you do, it's various exercises, but it also uses drumsticks. And you're, pounding on the floor on various things.
Okay.
I knew somebody who was getting a certification in it. I'm taking an exercise class online. I found with this COVID, some days I'm functional all day, and other days, if I'm not working, I'm spending time in bed. So I've really lost strength, but as I'm improving, I'm taking this online class, and it's really interesting because the woman who teaches it is sighted, and most of the people who take it, although it's small, are sighted, but it is targeted for people with chronic illnesses, and she also says that she describes everything so that it is easy to follow for someone who can't see, and I've really found that to be the case. And it's really interesting because some days, like last week I had 2 days, and I took a class one day, and it was the first time that I felt like I had energy after the class was over, like I could have done more. And the next day, I was only able to do 5 minutes because everything was spinning, and I felt like I was going to fall on my face. But I thought, any little bit that I'm doing, I'm getting back into it, I'm getting stronger, even though it's taking a long time. And I never would have thought I would take an online exercise class, but it's more like strength and stretching and things like that. For cardio, I have things that I can do, I don't feel the need of a class, but I'm not very good at making myself do weights or stretching, and so if I put down my money for it every month, well, then I'm going to go because I paid for it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm like that too. If I spend money, I'm going to make myself be motivated because
exactly.
I think that's kind of how the Peloton works, because you've got that initial upfront investment, and then to have access to the live classes on the bike, it's $40 a month. So you're like, I'm going to get my money's worth.
Exactly.
Out of this.
It's like a gym membership.
I was going to say, in order to even use the Peloton, don't you even have to basically pay a monthly subscription all the time?
So you can use the bike without a subscription, but you won't have access to any of the classes. Like, there's a just ride option where you can just ride and listen to music or read a book or whatever.
Okay.
And and adjust the resistance as you go. But I've never done the just ride because I can't even tell you. Like, if I was just going to just ride, I would never challenge myself on it. I'd be on it for an hour and never even sweat. But like with the classes, like they push you.
They force you. That's why they push you. Yeah.
It's really the key to it. That I think that is why it has caught on so much, because of how motivating it is to feel like you're. And I've done one live class, but sometimes I guess they shout out people on the leaderboards, and people have some really funny names on there. That's part of what makes it funny, because he'll read the leaderboard name and be like, really, what in the world? Like,
and not to prolong or sidetrack again, but like it's a really interesting how technology can play into something like exercise and fitness, because that's why I really wish that some of this VR stuff was more accessible, because I've listened to a few podcasts and a few people, and I've seen like there are these different you have these motion controllers, and there are some apps where you can kind of do a monthly subscription type of thing, and you can get a heck of a workout doing some of those things. I mean, even playing something like Beat Saber or even like Fruit Ninja, these games, like you're actually physically in this environment, and you're slashing, or the Beat Saber is kind of like you've got these lightsabers and you're slashing these notes that are coming at you.
That's so cool. And auditorially, that could be easily made accessible.
Yes.
But just the lack of accessibility is just frustrating. It's so frustrating, because it's amazing. But if they would just add this level of accessibility, it would just be... I would love to be able to take advantage of those types of things just like everybody else a bit better.
All they'd have to do is add like spatial audio type technology to it, and it could be life like that would be so fun.
Oh, yeah. No, Beat Saber is pretty rad. I'm not going to lie.
Especially now with the spatial audio, I keep thinking that could just make gaming such a cool... It just takes that next step, because you can do so much with it, I think.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
You know what, though? It's so funny. You mentioned spatial audio, and so did I. Now, with a game, spatial audio would be super cool. But I absolutely hate spatial audio in actual practice. I think it makes me feel uncomfortable. It feels very uncomfortable. Like, I'll have it on, and I'll be like, are my AirPods even in? Did they disconnect? Like, because it just sounds like it's in the room. And then I don't like the way it makes music sound. Like, I do have the lossless on the music now, which sounds amazing, but I do not do the spatial audio on the music. I don't like it.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
I thought everybody from Colorado would love spatial audio.
It's just disconcerting. It's creepy, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
How funny.
Think about being on your exercise bike, your Peloton, and with spatial audio, you could be like going through the city, cars could come by.
It would be freaky, because you're right in the middle of it. It'd be on both sides of you. It would just be all around you. I think that would be sort of cool.
I'm all about spatial audio in games.
You're almost being passed. Those rear speakers would be going, I'm coming to get ya. You're being chased and do-do-do-do-do.
They do have some rides on there that are like, quote unquote scenic, because I did like a Hawaii one that was 30 minutes. You do the elevation gain with I think it's just a dude and his GoPro, but better produced than that. But he actually is doing like the ride, and it's pretty cool. That would be cool to have like surround sound with it, though.
Oh, that's neat. Or do the Tour de France. I always thought that would be cool.
How many miles is that?
Without the girl with the poster. Forget that one.
No one knows what you're talking about.
She stepped out and an accident happened. 19 people got injured and one guy and they hunted her down, and she's going to be fined and jailed and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, wow.
She was saying hi to grandma and grandpa, but she stood out facing the camera and...
They all plowed her down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a group of 19 wiped out, which is crazy.
Jeez. And those are bikes where you're like clipped in. That's the other thing about the Peloton. You do have to like literally clip in. So you have to have spin shoes that have this like, what is that?
It locks in, so you're...
Yeah, but it's called something.
How bizarre.
Yeah, you actually click into it.
Why?
That's way too preppy for me.
What's the reason behind that? Is it...
It's stability and control. Like on it, if
there's no escape.
That's what I was thinking.
That's so they can crank up the intensity and you can't.
They do have you stand up sometimes, and if you weren't clicked in, that'd be hard to do.
Huh. Oh, that's way too fancy for me.
Because they can keep adjusting it on you,
So if you're really clumsy and you stand up and you fall over, your feet are kind of up in the air, still attached to the bike, but you're not going anywhere.
That would be me.
You're clipped in.
That's called the recumbent version.
Yes.
I'm incredibly
exactly.
clumsy. Like I fall over nothing. And even getting off and on it'd be really hard to fall off of the Peloton. Like you'd have to try.
Awesome. And you can learn more about the accessibility and the experience that Serena's had on the Peloton from a blindness perspective by going to her blog post at blindyblog.com. That's BLINDYBLOG.com. It's a good read. It's not how many times you fall off, it's how many times you get back on and ride, right? Rocky, you did something with your modem, your Wi-Fi in your own house from 2.4 to 5. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Typically, the band switching happens automatically.
Yeah.
So your device is theoretically supposed to choose the band with the better signal. And I have a ton of interference here. So I finally got sick and tired of it and just brute forced the 5 gigahertz network on, gave it its own SSID because I was curious. I just wanted to watch it. And holy smokes, I don't know why. I don't think it was switching before automatically or something. It was staying on 2 gigahertz or a lot 2.4. I had a ton of interference, and as soon as I moved it over to 5G, I felt like it was Christmas in July. I had this smoking fast network all of a sudden that things would just work and they wouldn't buffer and they wouldn't disconnect and they wouldn't drop, and it was amazing.
I had that problem a while back on one of my routers, and what I also found is that they have different channels that you can switch to.
Yeah, well, I've been doing that.
And if you leave it on the default channel,
that's
a lot of
bad.
people just use that and there's a lot more congestion. And I found even that helped a lot.
I did that quite a bit on the 2.4 because there's everybody has at least one access point in here, and there's a ton of networks just within 100 feet of me. And so I thought changing the channel would be sufficient, but it's a good thing for the way this house is designed. It's a 2-story, but the rooms are right on top of each other. So I don't need a ton of coverage. So 5 gigahertz works really well right within my own property. As soon as I step off the property or I go down the street, I can keep the 2.4 almost all the way to the corner, way down the block. And obviously the 5 gigahertz network is going to drop sooner than that, but boy, is it smoking. If you
It's a massive
find
difference.
that there's lag and man, I just can't believe it. It's like I feel like I got new equipment or something. And if you have issues with your network, I really encourage anybody to try this because oh god, it's amazing. It's just I can't get over it.
You know what
Definitely.
made a huge difference for us too, because we have a basement and then 2 stories on top of that. So when the basement got finished, we were like, that's not going to work anymore. We bought an Orbi. Mesh system.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference too. They're kind of pricey, but you can get them on Amazon refurbished.
I knew you were going to say Orbi. I knew it.
Yeah.
They're great.
They work so well. We love it.
Did you get the 2-piece or the 3?
We have the router and then the 2 satellites, so the 3.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because the router's right here with me, and my work computer's hardwired to that router. And then there's a satellite in the basement, in the hub where all the cords are, where the network cables and stuff start. And then there's another one kind of in one of the central rooms upstairs. And we haven't had any problems.
So you can cover the whole house.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues anymore with random stuff just not working.
Yeah, the Orbi's nice router.
Yeah, I like that. You can get the Orbi with 2, with 3, and with 4, I've even seen.
If you ever get them, get the Amazon, reconditioned one or whatever they call it. It's not they don't call it refurbished. They call it some other word that doesn't sound as negative, I guess. What we did is we got that and then just purchased the 3-year warranty with it because by doing that, it was still cheaper than buying them brand new. And then you only got a 1-year warranty with the brand new. And they work fine. We haven't had any issues out of them at all.
Yeah, the Orbi, those satellites, it relays the signal so you can cover more areas of your house. So that's great. And in Rocky's situation, when she's talking about 5G, that doesn't travel as well through houses with plaster walls or a certain type of construction. So the 2.4 works better in certain situations. And you have a setting in your modem where you can switch that. That auto switching, it usually just switches to the best one. It tries to figure it out for you. It doesn't always work that way. So if you can force it to be on just 5G alone, which is probably a toggle switch in the settings for your particular modem, or you can have it on the automatic switching or just on the 2.4. Depending on your situation, find out what works best for you. All right. The iOS public beta has been released. Have any of you been brave enough to update to it?
I did.
No, sir.
I put it on my iPad, my 2018 iPad Pro.
I actually installed the developer beta on my iPhone 12 Pro Max right away.
You were brave.
How are you liking it? Is it good?
It's working good. It's working fine.
I have a 12 Pro, and I find it's working fine. I mean, the prevailing wisdom is that you shouldn't put a beta on your main device.
What? What? Now you tell me.
Exactly.
But then how do you test anything?
Yeah.
Where were you last week, Lisa?
If I was traveling or something and I knew I was really going to need it, but I have other options, and so I figured, well, let's do it. The only thing that's really weird is DoorDash, that app has been kind of a mess for a while, and now they say it's getting better.
That app is god-awful.
But since upgrading to iOS 15, I can't find my cart.
No, it's not. It's not iOS 15. It's DoorDash. It's messed up with 14.62.
Okay.
It moves. It's way at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's it floats around near the bottom, but it's not actually a tab. It's right above the tabs, and you just have to sort of hit it.
Yeah, I used to always be able to find it, and now it's like it doesn't exist.
It's not you. It's
but
possessed.
Can you scroll the restaurants finally now?
Not on the main page. You can't.
No.
Not really.
You can do it in search.
It's horrible.
They say that it's getting better, but this started I couldn't find the cart right after I updated to 15.
Yep. No, it's bad. It's the app.
I really want to put the beta on my watch, but I'm a little spooked by that because I use my watch to monitor my steps because I'm even when I was at my sickest, I really felt like it was important to get in my 10,000 steps a day. And sometimes that was just sitting on a stability ball bouncing. It was like steps for cheaters, but I felt like I needed to do something. And so to not be able to track my steps, I wouldn't like, if something went south, but you can't. Apparently you can downgrade to iOS 14. Once you get watch OS 8, you can't downgrade to watch OS 7.
Oh, interesting.
That's a big, that could be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Yeah.
Actually, when I did it to 15, I did it, and all of a sudden I thought, oh, wait, this is the one that takes forever, like till the fall. And I thought, I gulped a little bit, and I just kind of, all right. So here's the surprising thing. I woke up this morning. Of course, here I am.
I was going to say, that's surprising.
You paused at the wrong time there.
I woke up this morning.
That was great.
My watch said updated to 15.0, blah, blah, blah.
You're like, uh-oh.
And I went, and all I have it set for is to download, not to install, just to download. But it installed.
Yeah, you usually have to give it permission.
But this is beta 2. I already had beta 2 in there, but they released another beta 2, which is kind of like a re-release of the beta 2 that they didn't want to call it beta 3. They fixed something, but there's no real big change.
Okay.
Yeah, they pushed it.
You don't have a choice.
Huh.
Some people say remind me
That's
later.
interesting.
Once in a while, the watch will just decide that later has gone long enough now.
But it was your phone, though, right? Not your watch?
Oh, it was your phone?
Yeah, it was my phone. It was like Tim Cook was here, It was like, wow.
It just works, Jeff.
Apple. It just works.
I haven't had much of a chance yet to play with iPadOS 15, but has anyone tried that new text feature? I forget what it's called. The
image recognition piece?
Not the voiceover thing, but yeah, the live text. The live text, that's what it was called.
Which that's what I was curious is
I
how
haven't
it would
gotten
work
to try
with
that
voiceover.
yet.
I did it today. I took a birthday card that was pretty much text, and I did that, and it didn't do much. So then I went up to the Meet the Beatles album, which was the first US release. It's on my wall. So I went up to that, and I took a picture of that. But what they say is you're supposed to enlarge it a little bit and put your finger on the text, and then what pops up is a little square with the four corners that you can kind of like
move
box around.
But you don't know.
And then
where
it pops up copy and stuff like that.
It's completely useless.
You have to just touch the image to bring...
Yeah.
That's what I wondered, if there was like a voiceover detection sort of layer to it, because like I knew you could do it by dragging visually.
Well, they even said that you should enlarge it.
But it'll pull text from your image.
They want you to pinch out and then put that box around it, then hit copy, then go paste it. I did paste. It did come up with MY something ATLES. So It was bad.
But was the picture in how was your picture?
It pasted the text, but when I went to read it individually, it just went click, 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 click for the exact number of characters.
I wouldn't read it.
That is weird.
Huh.
Did you
Right.
toggle voiceover off and back on to see if the characters showed up again? If it was just not reading? Sometimes I have this when I'm trying to read a text field and there's text there, like an email address, but it's just clicking and I have to like double tap again on the text field, even though I'm already editing it for some reason. It's like it loses focus, even though it doesn't. And I'm flicking and all I get are the clicks. I'm just wondering if it's a voiceover thing or a...
Yeah, I mean, I was really just wondering because everything, they showed it in the videos and the demonstrations and
so
stuff, and it was all like, you take a picture or you just you just touch and you drag.
And it was just automatic.
Right, and I wondered if there was some sort of, because especially with what they did in iOS 14, where you touch the viewfinder of any camera-based app with voiceover on, and it does actually try to tell you some stuff. So I wondered if the live text, that would have like another voiceover layer to help accommodate.
I gave it
for
a
that.
1 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try to play with it tomorrow.
I'm curious because even with iOS 14, I was putting our logo into the Crowd Compass app for the convention and I was, is this really the logo? And I had a picture and of course the logo has text in it and I could touch that picture and it would say image and then I would swipe off it and swipe back to it and I could touch it and it actually was pulling letters from the image. I could see that it was our logo because it would read the word lighthouse. So
yeah, I could do that.
you could always
But
do
that even that feature is hit or miss.
It
though.
is hit or miss.
There's no reliability with
That's
it.
the thing. And I was hoping that was what they were doing is making that more reliable.
Well, that's what I was hoping because even in iOS 14, what I noticed is that it tends to work a little bit better if you have a short couple words of text. Whereas if let's say you were looking at a back of a box with a lot of text, or like you were out walking and you looked at like a sign or a marquee that had a lot of words on it, it does not seem near as reliable. And so it's I wonder why, or wonder what it's doing where it's not image to image. It just doesn't consistently
But then it does it when you don't want it to do it. So like Apple Music, like if you go to the search tab and you're like, okay, I want to look up pop music. So it says pop, but then it's like it'll say like image may contain words that say pop or whatever. It's like double doing it and it's super annoying. It's like if it's already labeled, don't try to say possibly. Yeah. And it's not screen recognition that I have on because I do not turn that on unless absolutely necessary.
So do you guys know about the screen recognition bug?
It's breaking everything from what I understand.
No, there's a fix for it. And I think maybe, Jeff, you should put this out there because somebody is still going to be getting stuck with that screen recognition bug. There's a thing where when you toggle screen recognition on and it doesn't matter what app you're in, it'll just brick the app and eventually you'll get no voiceover feedback at all. If you're sighted, you can see that there's stuff on the screen, but all it will do is pull things from the status bar. So it might say, give you your battery status or your clock. And when you exit the app and go back into it, your screen is blank again. It's like they broke the app completely. And it's a bug where when screen recognition is toggled on, it breaks the app. And so inadvertently, when I went to close out the app, I discovered that when you try to force quit an app from the app switcher, you have rotor actions on it. So if you bring focus to the app in question and you turn the rotor, you have access again to direct touch and screen recognition and describe images. All those things are there. They disappear when you have the app loaded, of course, because you can't get any voiceover feedback. But as soon as you're in the app switcher, you can toggle that screen recognition off. And to get rid of the bug completely, you've actually got to go open up accessibility under settings and go under voiceover and open up screen recognition, turn it off, turn it back on, and then toggle voiceover off and toggle voiceover back on. And that will get rid of the bug completely.
Oh, wow.
From every app, and you just won't be plagued by it anymore. But until you do that toggle, you toggle the
so odd
the option first and then toggle voiceover.
I did not know about that.
It goes away.
That's like iPhone hokey pokey.
And that's what it's all about.
It's really disconcerting. I was deleting apps thinking I broke it, and
people were like, Facebook is broken. I'm like, it definitely is not broken.
It's not.
Yeah, no, that's really a good thing to know, though.
someone else put the toggle out, and once I did it, the bug completely went away for every app, but I'm still seeing people plagued with it periodically, and it doesn't matter what app you're in.
It's
it
even their own apps. Like Safari is the one where most people are reporting
it doesn't matter.
Oh, lovely.
Turn it off and back on and it's gone. So if you have the screen recognition, that will take care of it.
I went into settings and I turned off voice recognition, image recognition, and text recognition. But I have them in my rotor, which
That's
I,
smart.
two finger swipe to the left, I can do screen recognition if I want to, or I can spin my rotor and have image recognition. Because what I found out is some apps, you got to also go in there and make sure you don't have apps turned on for screen recognition, because you can customize it so every time you open up Facebook, it's on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you may not want that. You may also be doing something and it feels like it's bricked a little bit, but then you shut it off. So I just turned them all off, and I've had other people, someone was using the Mini 12, the late Mini 12. I don't think they're going to do that anymore. But
I've heard that they're not going to.
yeah.
They're pulling it, yeah.
But I think having all those steroids going at once sometimes, I don't think every developer, every app is ready for this. I think we have to turn it on when we need it.
Including Apple's own apps.
So putting it in the rotor is a good idea. That's what I did as well. I turned it off, but that's how I ran into the bug, because I inadvertently flicked on the option in the rotor and turned it on when I didn't mean to. And I think that was what got me into trouble. I agree with you. I think that's the way to do it. Add them to your rotor, and you can turn them on and off as you need them for on an app by app basis, because you're right, it will break. Obviously, if you flick down and you turn screen recognition on and you do it in the wrong app, it just bricks the whole thing until they fix it. So that's the thing. If it's in the rotor, be careful. Make sure that when you're flicking around that you don't have that option highlighted, or you'll turn it on.
Yeah. Another thing about 15 is Safari has been changed, and now when you get your menu bar, it floats near the bottom.
No.
And then there's a more button, so you hit the more button, then you got to swipe a couple times, find your bookmarks, and your tabs are different.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
The address bar is still at the top, though?
No,
it's at the bottom, I think.
What?
Seriously?
That's weird.
I will never find it again.
I'll never use it again. That's it.
You can move that a little bit. There's other ways to do it. Like if you go further down in the page, it'll disappear, but you can toggle that on and off. The other thing is, if you do tap on it and you go to the more button, then it just kind of pops back where everything used to be, in a sense. So it's like, why did you even
Maybe it's a temporary thing.
No, it's a total changeover. I guess for sighted people, it's all visual change. But for us, you have to go down, find it. And they don't put the whole email address in there. They just put the like if you're deep into a web page that you have saved, it'll just say the, humanware.com or something
bookmark.
like that.
Yeah, you have to tap on it to expand
and then it'll expand it. And
I
then
feel
you
like it's
your
always
tabs.
said that, though.
It does.
Well, yeah.
I have to tap on the address bar to get the whole
But
thing.
now it's not at the bottom anymore. Now you go and it's at the top again. Then you swipe a couple times, then you can.
Oh, so it's not consistent.
So it moves.
That's
address
I
bar
like
floats.
to use native
I thought it was
apps
always at the
wherever
bottom.
I can.
It is technically, but if you tap on it, like the more button, and then you pop up there, and then you got your bookmarks, and your tabs are a bit different. And
Why they change it?
I got to play with the beta tomorrow and Friday when I have more time.
I like to use native apps whenever I can, but this makes me want to check out a different browser, any different browser, because I don't
not
like
that
it.
bad. Once
it's not
it's
bad.
just the change.
Yeah,
They haven't changed Safari, the menu bar, for 10 years.
I like that muscle memory though.
Because it
like
works.
double tap the
Check out
address
the
bar
Brave
at the
browser,
top.
Lisa.
Yeah,
You'll like
I've
that.
heard good things
It's-
about Brave.
Check out Brave. It's a nice little browser. I like it. I mean, I have to use Chrome for certain things, but I use Brave a lot
Nice.
for the searching.
Honestly, I kind of think that, muscle memory is great, but I kind of almost think that, especially if people use larger phones, it does almost make more sense to have it kind of disappear and appear at the bottom, because that's generally where your thumbs or fingers are.
Yeah, but where do the tabs go?
Yeah.
Where are the tabs?
I guess I feel like, okay, are they changing this because it's actually better, or are they changing it just so that they can say, "Oh, new look," wait,
Visual
there is more,
aesthetic, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm getting used to it already. Your tabs turn into a grid pattern in a sense, so it's not like you flip through them like your app switcher. It's not like that.
That I like.
Because I can never find my tab in the first place.
And you can move the tabs around. So if you have some that you want to
I do. That's way better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And as a low vision user, I love the tile view just because it's like, oh, I can kind of eyeball and go, oh, I kind of see that's what that web page is. I know exactly which one. I don't even really have to flick. I can just, oh, that's the one I want. Double tap, boom, we got it.
I do like the grid view, but that could be good. Have you guys looked at Apple Music? Have they changed anything in that? Because that app, really scrolling in it by heading and stuff, never worked properly.
It's busy. It's really a busy app. It's just super busy. I can't believe as wonderful as Apple can be with some of the intuitiveness. I'm surprised Apple Music is as busy as it is. It's just...
Yeah, it's so hard to find even just new releases.
But in general, I really don't like busy apps. I mean, before we started, we were talking about email programs, and that's kind of my beef with Outlook. With most all of the email programs now, it's not just email. It's like, manage your life central. And it's like, no, I just want to read email, please.
I don't really use Apple Music, actually, because I get, I pay for the YouTube Premium, and then you get, it used to be Google Music, but then they switched over to YouTube Music, and I really like it. I use YouTube Music, and it works beautifully.
That's cool.
I am full in the Apple Music ecosystem.
I haven't looked at Apple Music since the update. I actually did not have one, and I just recently got a HomePod Mini to play with.
How do you like it? Do you like it?
There are things I really like, and there are one or two things I don't like about it.
Siri?
No, I'm
Well,
like Siri.
Well, the thing I don't like
Siri's
is
dumb.
that it can't give you the weather forecast.
Oh, it can.
It can give you all kinds of information, but when I say what's the weather, it's like check on your companion device.
Oh, there must be something set oddly. Because I check the weather with the HomePod Mini all the time.
I found this on the web.
Okay.
Yeah, there must
I'll
be
have to
something
check.
weird. Because I constantly check the weather on it, and it does give the forecast.
I really like that I can ping my phone, and it will keep pinging it until I've got it in my hot little hands and I can unlock it.
It's not like the Apple Watch where you have to ping and ping and ping and ping and ping.
I feel really stupid because I had produced a tutorial on the Apple Watch, and I was saying the same thing to a friend, and he's like, oh, well, I just use Siri on the watch until it finds my phone, and it pings it until I pick it up.
Yeah, you can do it there too.
And I was like, okay, I don't feel very smart right now.
I never do that. That's a good idea. Jeez.
The other thing I really like about the HomePod is I use the male Siri voice, the older one, not the new one. And I have a mild hearing loss. And it's like I can hear the Amazon thing, but I can't always understand. It's like the pitch of her voice, but his voice I can understand. Like, her voice is too mid-range. If it was a little higher or a little lower, the Siri voice is very easy to understand. I like it. I have more Amazon stuff, but I'm going to be doing a presentation, I think a comparison of the 3 smart speakers, and I had experience with Amazon and Google, but not with Apple, so...
Well, that'll be fun.
Well, it's funny because, like, if I had to rank them, like, the Google speakers are by far the smartest.
Absolutely.
The Amazon ones are the most intuitive, I feel. And then the HomePod sounds the best.
HomePod just there for music.
Yeah.
The Google, to me, is the most immersive. Like, you can say, what does an elephant sound like? And it will play you
and
an
you can
elephant.
keep talking to
now,
it.
Amazon, yes, exactly. It's more conversational. Where Amazon will be like, elephants live in, blah,
Here's a
blah. Like, it'll give
picture.
you information. Yes, I'm sending a picture to your phone,
I've been resisting the Echo Show forever because I would like one in the kitchen just to be able to look at things really quickly, although I find it's hit or miss.
It doesn't. It's more miss
it's really
than hit.
I
At
know,
least
I
I
saw
found.
that
I got it for that reason, and I was really disappointed.
But it also says, look on the screen. It tells you a lot more to use the screen for things, apparently.
It does.
Which I don't want. I want the speaker to talk. I'm not even near it.
Yeah, you could even watch Netflix on it.
It seems to want you to look at the screen.
It's kind of like if an Echo Dot and a Fire tablet had a baby, kind of.
That's a good way to describe it.
As we mentioned earlier, I know nothing about babies.
It kind of reminded me of the way Siri's always telling you, look on the web. I found this on the web. Take a look.
Sighted
kinda
people really
reminded me
like
of-
my Echo Show because it's got a nice clock on it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that shape, that triangular shape of like a clock.
It is very
Or
modern
like
looking.
a clock.
I will give it that.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, I like your clock.
But it's disturbing if it's going to make you refer back to the screen and it will speak less.
I don't think it speaks less. I really don't. But like the extras that it does, that's where you would need the screen. So, for example, you can't do Netflix on an Echo Dot. You can do it on an Echo Show, but I don't know that you can give the commands to launch it. You might have to interact with the screen. I mostly am using mine like a standard Amazon device.
Yeah, I don't even have voice view on it right now, like turned on it. I
do.
Yeah. And on the HomePod, I don't have voiceover turned on the HomePod because there's only 3 buttons on it, essentially. You just know where they are, and it actually works better without voiceover on the HomePod.
You don't need it.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it works way better for pausing and volume and stuff. Like, if you don't know how it's oriented, then you'll be turning it up when you're trying to pause.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't like that about the Google devices. It's like
I still don't know how to turn them up.
and all of a sudden the volume would be like at screaming level.
I still don't know how to turn them up and down. I just tell it to turn it up and down.
You basically, on the Google ones, all you do is you just kind of take your finger around the top edge and you just kind of clockwise or counterclockwise, you just drag around the edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spin it.
It's so easy to accidentally do, though.
Like the old iPad.
It is. That's the problem. It's too easy to do it accidentally.
That's what it reminds me of, the old iPod.
We're killing Jeff because we're not anywhere near on his outline. But I bought the new Siri remote for the Apple TVs.
Do you like that? My friend Doug loves his.
We bought a second one after we bought the first one, so and we need to replace, I think, 1 or 2 more.
Oh, you lost it already?
I love it.
Because it has a D-pad on it, right?
Yeah.
Also.
And you can still swipe on it.
Yeah.
It's got way more tactile buttons. You can still swipe on it. It feels substantial.
It doesn't fall in the couch cushions. He won't lose it in the couch.
It's still small. It's not as small as the 4th generation remotes. But
Here's the big question, Serena. Does Chuck use it upside down or right side up?
No, this one's impossible to use upside down. It is
we've
very
heard about
obvious.
Chuck's issues with the remote.
The only thing that will throw you off if you're a visually impaired user is they replaced the play pause button with the mute button and moved play pause above it. So you could theoretically hit the mute button and think that you've paused it.
And that you broke it.
and that you've only muted it. And so you would think it's paused because there's no sound.
Interesting.
But I love it. It just feels like it always should have. Like it's a much fancier remote, and it has an actual power button on it to turn the Apple TV off.
Heard that from another person
screensaver, we'll turn it off eventually.
Everybody
or doing
says
that weird thing where you hold the button to make it. And it was super easy to pair too. Super easy to pair it with.
Do you guys remember before we got started, I said we'll just go down this list and we won't get distracted.
And we told you.
Yeah, but we haven't had it.
I
How
know.
long has it been since you have had a tech abilities
I'm just saying.
we miss each
warned
other.
you. We warned you.
We warned you. We haven't had time to be
I-
in the same vicinity, in the same virtual vicinity for over a month now.
I missed you guys.
I know.
I missed
We're
you
having
guys.
a.
We're catching up on all of our
catching
tech
up
stuff.
here.
Leave us alone, Jeff.
Aw.
Don't you got some hockey to play over there? Don't you have a
For
hockey
real.
game to play?
No, I'm trying to focus, and that's a new feature that's in 15 to
Ooh.
focus instead of doing.
I will never use
like
that
when you-
feature.
Oh, really?
Oh wait!
my
I
God,
said the same thing,
I would.
and I complained to Rocky about it, and I was like blah blah blah, and now
That's
I like it because I'm
profiles.
figuring it out a little bit. Yeah, and what it does is, you do not disturb, how you have that set up. Well, I have it set up so I get my notifications around 11 o'clock, and then I get them around 4
I
o'clock.
love that.
Yeah.
And then I have another one set up for like 8 p.m. But the thing is, if I decide, hey, I haven't got my notifications, but I've been busy, I'm not being distracted while I'm working. So I was on my walk today. All of a sudden I go up and I just do the swipe down, and it says you have 24 notifications for your, certain time, whatever it's called. And I just tapped on it, and it just unpacks it right there. So you can swipe through them and go, and then you can actually close it back up and get rid of that whole packet.
Love it.
And then it has upcoming ones too.
See, I have the FOMO going on though.
Yes, yes, that's me.
I can't.
That's the problem. But if you leave, I had to turn all my notifications off. I never could get work done. Every 5 minutes, something. Clubhouse is the worst one.
Oh, you'll love this then.
Clubhouse is much better now, actually.
I thought all my notifications were more important than life and everything. I didn't want to
turned
jeopardize
them all
anything.
off.
But you can open up. You can secret passageways for certain apps to come through.
Love that.
Like messages.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to miss a text message.
Right, text
those
messages,
are more important.
you know.
I don't miss a text message or a phone call or any of that stuff. You know, I will miss, something from BBC or something like that.
Like apps or news or some silly thing that you can do
Facebook
later.
or...
Yeah, honestly, that's what I am really looking forward to as far as like, not just setting the times and like different statuses, but like within those, just being able to say, okay, if I'm in work mode, I do want to receive like calls from these people.
Yep.
Or these notifications from these apps.
Or Free Britney.
Right, but I don't...
Jeez.
But I don't want to hear general calls or general notifications. I can see that being kind of useful.
I miss that from the old days of Windows Phone. Windows Phone used to handle profiles really nicely. And I loved that. It was one of the hardest things about switching to the iPhone, that and giving up my mobile geo, because it had profiles and I could just tap on meeting and all of the things that I wanted to shut up and go away were gone while I was in that meeting. And then when I would...
So it's going to be like kind of the same
Yeah,
thing.
you can create a profile for,
I really like it for work.
For work or for, different times at work even. Maybe you want meetings to be totally silent, but notifications to come through at other times.
Yeah.
It's kind of like setting up spaces like your work office at home,
right, exactly.
or your scene. Like you want the lighting this way. Well, you want to do your notifications this way, your alarms or something. And after a little while, you get used to it because it's not like you're missing them. All of a sudden, you get done writing your essay or something, or your thesis, whatever you're doing, Serena. I don't know. Or a report. And all of a sudden, you're done with it, and you take a break, and you just swipe down on your phone, and you see it just has one tab there. It says 16 messages in your, morning brief, whatever you want to call it.
Tap on
and you
it.
can tap it, open it, go through it, close it all up, grab a drink or something like that, come back and get back to work again. And now it's building up your next time that you have slotted to. So you can tap into that, your upcoming ones and your past ones. So it works pretty good, and you can swipe them away or close them up or clear just that section. It won't clear all your notifications. It'll clear that section. So it is controllable. At first, I told Rocky, I said, this is stupid, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like when you get a watch and someone says, well, how do you set it up? Well, it takes a while. You got to get used to it. It takes about 3 months. It takes a long time. And the same with this focus thing. I'm tweaking it. I got rid of it. I turned it back on. Now I like it because I got production done, and I get so annoyed because I always have to check. I hear my phone, I check it, I stop what I'm doing, I come back. Where was I?
You get FOMO too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like my personal desktop and my work desktop, and that way I don't get as distracted, because when I'm working on the one desktop, I can just stay focused on those different applications, and then if I want to pop back over to the other one, I can. Works really nice.
Another thing they have is iCloud Plus, and it doesn't cost anything more, but they're enhancing it. So you're going to have private relay. So you know how websites want to figure out who you are, what you are, where you're going, where you've been, what you're going to do, and sell all that information. I didn't mention Facebook once right there. But this way, private relay uses a different IP address. It's kind of like hiding you. So it doesn't actually...
Yeah, kind of like a VPN.
Yeah, VPN.
How much criminal activity is that going to be used for?
It's in the address too, right? Isn't it something private relay?
And it'll do it with your email too. Your email doesn't get forwarded. They kind of use a dummy one that sends out and comes back and then puts it all back together.
Yeah.
And another thing they're going to do is, say you have a family group or something like that you can use a domain name for your email at
I saw that.
Gilberts.com or whatever it is. I don't think.
I'm still shocked that they haven't been able to have the domain ability with your Apple stuff. Like Google's had that forever.
So that's really going to be cool for people to use that type of stuff. It's kind of a different way of grouping stuff. I know some people that use emails like text messages still. I like what they're doing, but I'm not trying to sit down and figure this all out in one fail swoop. And it's stable enough right now for me that I'm fine with it. And like when you said that, Lisa, like if you're going on a trip, yeah, I was kind of nervous about it. It was too late, and then here I am. So it's pretty stable though.
Yeah, in the little bit that I've used iPadOS 15, not only was it stable, but I was actually pretty impressed with how responsive VoiceOver was, because usually, like on the earlier betas, it kind of slows down a little bit. There might be a little bit more slowdown or lag or just a little bit more jankiness about it, and it just it's worked surprisingly well.
I think one of the big things for anybody that's using 14 or 15 right now is, like Rocky was saying, check out where you are with your screen recognition, your text recognition, and image recognition, because those things seem to me like gets you in this lost zone. Like there's a fake screen on top of your screen, it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's just, but it's not just 15, it's 14 too.
And it's disturbing because sometimes when you turn screen recognition on, you'll see things that are there on the screen that just completely are ignored by VoiceOver. And the thinking is like, what? For a minute, things that should be there aren't, and things that aren't normally there are, because it will pick different things up. So sometimes you want to turn it off.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need it on to find a certain button or controls.
I've actually found as a low vision user, if I've had that stuff on, and sometimes it'll kind of like linger, so it'll still think that there's information on the screen that isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Like it went to a totally different screen, but it still thinks that there's something still there.
You could theoretically tap on a control that's not really there.
Right, yeah, it's not there anymore. Like that happened to me a few times in the Steam app where it would go a little screwy that way.
Yeah.
Another thing, this has nothing to do with 15, but I wouldn't suggest anybody to put it onto their main driver, their main phone or whatever like that. But if you have an extra phone, check it out. It's pretty stable right now, but anything could go wrong at any time. So I wouldn't do it, but I did it. But I'm one of those thrill seekers. I actually didn't do it for 14. I waited.
Because of 13, right?
Oh my God.
I always say I'm going to wait, and I never do.
I usually am.
And you can't wait.
This is the last 2 years, like I need my phone for too many different things now. I can't afford for it to not do what I need to do. And I'm usually one that's like, I'm going to do the public beta. And I've been burned way too many times where my apps have not worked.
I've got lots of devices, so we're good here.
See, that's it. If you have an extra iPod or iPad,
I do have an extra. I have an iPhone 10 that I could try it on, but I'm too lazy to go do that. Because I'm not gonna. It's not my primary device, so I'm not gonna really test it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got my phone and like 2 iPads and.
See,
well, I remember when the 12 Pro Max came out and the LiDAR was the big thing. Okay, people. How many apps, other than the 3, how many apps or developers have been really utilizing LiDAR? I mean, but it was like, whoa, this is all this is all.
I think
just
a
not
lot of
likeness
apps do.
ones.
I think of like the measuring and stuff. When they came to replace my floor, the guy did all of his measuring and stuff with his phone, and it was doing all kinds of. I don't know. I'm not a worker.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, when I got my M1 iPad, since it has a LiDAR in it, I played with a little bit, and it's not really as impressive right now. I think it still needs a little bit of work and whatnot, but it's not as essential, or it's cool, but not quite as good as I was hoping it was going to be yet.
You know where it shines is public transit.
Well, and the other thing too,
Go ahead.
and maybe this will just become something that's more accessible to us in the future, is they've had a while now where you could like quote unquote see this furniture in your room, but with the LiDAR. Maybe and that could actually be an accessible way to see, will this chair fit in this room, or will Yeah.
Oh no, that's how they do it. That even like furniture stores and stuff. That's how they do the measurements to see if things will fit. I mean, I think it's really kind of gimmicky for us to point the camera around and have it do object recognition. I think that's really cool. And in 3 years, it'll be even cooler. I think it's great that it's in its infancy, but it's not as practically useful as like the person detection. Holy God, if you're out walking around and you have a lanyard or something, all you do is just turn the phone a little bit and you can see, is somebody sitting in that seat over there? Who's at the end of the line? Is the line moving?
See,
it really
that's
works.
the thing. We haven't
so stupid, but
we just traveled 2 weeks
useful.
ago, and I traveled with my family, and we didn't stay in a hotel or anything. But had I traveled and like maybe it was a business trip and I was staying in a hotel by myself, that LiDAR actually probably would be very helpful, because then you don't have to go touching every surface.
After COVID, opening up without COVID, when you don't have to reach over, you know how you kind of try to surreptitiously see if like a seat's empty with your cane, or as you don't have to touch anything to be able to see from a distance whether or not there's even a person over there, or you know, it's just so helpful.
People detection.
Yeah. Post COVID.
Yeah, and they came out with the new magnifier app is a standalone now.
Yeah.
And people detection is in there too. So
it's a shortcut. It's a 3-finger quadruple tap on the screen, and
I have to play with that with the magnifier app. So it's an app in 15 now, but can you open the magnifier app through Control Center? In 15.
You have to turn it on in 15.
Yet.
In 15,
yeah,
it's a standalone app,
I don't know,
now.
because since it's a separate
like all together,
app now,
kind of like notes.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if that'll fix my weird shortcut bug that I had, because what I tried to do earlier this year is I thought I would make a really cool back tap shortcut, and it worked. So like if I triple tap the back of the phone, it would just boom, open magnifier. Mm-hmm. But what I did is I had it where it would turn voiceover off.
Oh, you did a custom shortcut.
All in one gesture.
It's useful.
Right. But what was it was cool because, like I said, then I can pinch to zoom. But the problem with it worked, but I stopped using the shortcut. I got rid of it because every time you did that, it would not only open magnifier, but it would go into your accessibility shortcut and check magnifier. So let's say that you have your side button set to just your voiceover.
Now it's selected.
Then it would add it would be a select thing, and every time, you'd have
to tell Siri then to turn voiceover back on.
If you didn't even know what was going on.
You couldn't see the menu.
But you would always have to go into the accessibility shortcuts
and uncheck magnifier.
Oh, that's a super annoying bug.
Yeah, and I reported it to Apple, and they never really did anything about it. But now that I wonder if it's
maybe
a separate
it'll
app. I'm going to try this on my iPad
so
tomorrow.
They said you could run them simultaneously now. So I'm wondering if even if you do it, if you get rid of voiceover, if voiceover toggles away and magnifier comes up, I wonder if that will fix it, because they seem to be able to play nicer.
Since it's a separate app, I wonder
it'll probably work way better.
Trigger. I don't want it to check that accessibility shortcut thing, because I just want it to open.
And maybe that's why they pulled it out to be a separate app to make it more easily accessible.
Yeah, maybe they actually took my feedback into account and go, oh yeah, that is kind of busted.
Very well could have. They do listen.
Thank you, Jesse.
They do take stock.
Yeah, that's that Tim Cook hotline you got there, huh, Jesse?
Yeah, make it work. I won't quit bugging you until you do.
There is something that did come out that I really like. I got the AirTags, and they have this separation feature now. When I was camping, when I would walk away from the camper and get like 100 yards away or so, it would say 3 items left behind. Or if I left 1 item, like your keys are left behind.
You left everything.
I wasn't bringing my wallet all the time. Well, no, they have a restaurant down the thing, or the swimming pool or something like that. So you're not going to bring everything with you.
That's cool.
But it was just really neat, because if you left something at a restaurant and you did all of a sudden get that notification, you could go, oh my gosh, we got to go back, because time is essential in a case like that. And I could have went through the motion of saying, well, where is it? It said it was in a state forest somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
However, the AirTags, you can get down to the nitty gritty and actually get, you're 10 feet away. It will bring you, it will find you, it will map you back to the place. So I was looking forward to that.
I like the AirTags. I have a couple, and I put them on my keychain, and I put them on, I'm going to use them for like luggage if I travel. But my only downside with the AirTags is I wish they had a really thin credit card size one, because you try to put one in the wallet and it's just too thick. So I really wish that they had just almost like, you get those, like your credit card or debit card with the chip. I almost wish it was just like a chip, and they had a certain model that you could shove in your wallet really easy.
That'll be next year's model.
Yeah.
Well, I got a wallet that carries credit cards and stuff, and it had a magnet in it so you could do the flap. So I cut the flap off, took the magnet out, and slid the AirTag right into that spot. Yeah, and then I put a piece of Gorilla tape over that
janky.
area just in case.
Exactly.
I feel like the word of the day is janky.
It is.
My wallet is a duct tape wallet, so
That's cool.
I got
Yeah, I know.
Cool,
the
then.
AirTags as well. And I think the thing I dislike the most is that they are so soft. I wear hearing aids, but even people who don't say they're really soft,
Really?
they're really hard to hear.
Yeah.
And I wish they would give you an option to
Make them louder.
change the sound or even change the sound. Like there used to be an old Nokia ringtone and it started low and it was really fast, but it went up the scale chromatically.
Oh, I think I remember that.
And I thought, this is cool because if you have a hearing loss, which at the time I did not, somewhere in there it's going to hit your sweet spot. You're going to be able to hear it.
I would have thought they would be super chirpy, like the noise that your phone makes when you ping it.
They are chirpy, but they're not really that loud.
No, they're like
tiny,
AirPods.
soft,
Oh,
though.
my
They're
AirPods,
really
I'd
loud.
never been
I
able to
had-
locate them when I've lost them.
You got to be right on top of them
Yeah.
to hear them.
I think the thing is, it spews out the sound in such multiple directions and different pitches, all that even though
Localizing it is
you're real
hard.
close to it, you're looking. Remember when
Yeah.
we talked about
Smoke
it? It's like
detector.
finding
Yeah.
the smoke
It's-
I had
detector. Like,
tiles.
I hear it.
I had tiles on my luggage, and the last time I used it in an airport, it was this big echoey airport, and it was really late, and I was exhausted. And I heard my luggage coming, and I just got a fit of laughing and almost couldn't stop. It sounded like an ice cream truck on steroids, but it was very
and that's
audible.
how it should be for something
The
like
thing,
that.
yeah.
Right.
The thing I love though about the AirTags is, I have a robotic vacuum.
I need
And
that.
oh no, this is great.
Mine got
This is
lost
so
the
good
other
on the
day. I
vacuum.
can't find it.
Yes, and I sometimes I have to, like if I'm vacuuming in another room of my apartment, I close off the kitchen where the charger is, and I let it run until its brains fall out until it just stops.
And you
But
can't
then,
find it.
Then I can't find it. I mean,
That's
I
smart.
have the three little do 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 do, the little sad song it plays, and I'm like, where are you? And I can't
and if
find
it's
it.
completely dead, it won't
Um,
play the sad song.
Exactly. And so that
smart.
works.
Aw.
The only problem I had was I have these little cheapy silicone cases that I bought from Amazon, and I could not get them to stick to the vacuum
because of silicone
cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what I ended up doing was
Oh God.
just vacuum it up.
More duct
I
tape.
had Velcro, and so I put the one on
Oh, that's a
top.
good idea.
And I put the other on the silicone case, and it fell off.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, okay, I've had it.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
fixing your wagon. So I pulled out the Gorilla Glue, and that Velcro ain't going nowhere. It's stuck tight. I almost had a finger
wow.
stuck to it, but hey, we're good.
It's
I can
not
read
going
Braille with that finger. We're
That's
good.
very smart
You know?
because, we have a Roomba and it rarely gets stuck, lost, or runs out of battery because our place is so open that when it gets dead, it takes itself home.
Yeah.
But it must have had a bad software update or something a couple weeks ago because it kept just getting stuck on nothing, and then it died.
Mine
and I
is
couldn't
places where
find
it can get stuck, like legit.
No, this one was just in the
stuck.
middle
Yeah.
of the room saying it was stuck. I'm like,
You know,
Aw.
right away when I got my AirTags, I bought the
You're
leather
the
case
sucker.
from Apple for $39. Yeah, I know.
They love
I get
you.
it. However,
They see.
I listened to you guys on the podcast, and I went to Amazon and I bought another one. So I bought it for, and I got
that's
it for
almost as much as the
$19.99.
AirTag.
It's a leather
I'm just saying.
case.
I got a
Yeah, oh, I know.
4-pack of silicone
Okay,
things
but the
for
thing
$20.
is-
I think we
Can
bought
we
the
say
same
cheap,
silicone.
cheap,
Did they have little rings
Yep,
on them?
it works.
The little carabiner.
I mean,
Yeah,
I put it. I'm
exactly.
going to put a link in the show notes, but it's really neat. The company that makes these tags, it's if you sound it out, it's spelt. You can't hear it when voiceover reads it, but it's you need it Y. It's the capital letter U, and then
That's very
need it,
funny.
and then
Oh my
the
gosh.
letter Y. And I said,
Unity or something
Yeah,
it's
you
going to
need-
say.
can you imagine? You need it Y.
That's cool.
So, but it's just as good as the other one.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I bought a
probably made in the
cheapo
exact
version.
same
Keychain ring.
Chinese factory.
Factory.
Yeah.
It's probably just
I
rebranded
have-
with the
Yeah.
Apple stamp on the Apple cases.
Oh, yeah. Your Apple
absolutely.
Oh,
tag.
actually, I like the ring better because the one that comes from Apple kind of has this I don't know, the squared off ring, like a
Okay.
flat
Mhm.
side
Yeah.
to it. And some of my smaller keys, like the storage stuff for my camper and
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
don't spin on
Yeah,
it. They kind
the
of get
corners.
hung up.
That's
So when
frustrating.
you put it in your pocket, sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, you know. Yeah. So I switched that out on the
Oh, I have a
keychains
knockoff.
and make sure I got some
Yeah.
nice
I have
round
a
ones.
knockoff Apple
Oh,
Watch
whoever
band.
buys a real Apple
I
Watch
got
band. Yeah.
I know.
Oh,
it looks
good
like a
Lord, no
Milanese
way.
loop.
Than Renee
Apparently, it
Ritchie.
looks very
I've never
nice.
Why are you
I
guys
have so many
looking at
Apple Watch
me?
bands and they're
Thinking.
all from Amazon for like $20 or less.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
me too.
See, I don't have a ton
I
of them.
love
Those
these
loops are
Millennium
nice.
loops.
Expensive ones.
Yeah,
Yep.
they are nice.
And they
And I bought them
last.
for like $8 on Amazon.
Yeah,
instead of, like,
mine was
$250.
$11 on Amazon.
I have one on right now and it's so pretty.
It's almost the same
Yeah.
match. You wouldn't
Nobody's
know the difference
looking
when you
that
compare
closely
them.
at it.
Yeah.
They did a really good job.
No, those are tacky.
I never liked the silicone ones. I was like, if you drop this, will it bounce?
No,
I love
the
those.
metallic loops are the best.
Yeah. I was really surprised when I got my first watch. It had a nylon band, and I was like, oh, this is going to feel like crappy dog collar after like 2 months.
No, it's comfortable.
It's great. It really held up
For a
well.
cheap. Is it Velcro?
No,
Lisa?
it was like
the
a.
Velcro?
This was like from the
Okay.
Apple Watch
The-
3.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like a buckle nylon band.
The buckle. They have a Velcro nylon band if you want to get even cheaper. I feel like, how can you take this nice watch and put like a 10-year-old's band
Yeah.
on it? But it's so comfortable. It's almost embarrassing to wear it because it's fabric.
Well, and
but it's
apparently
so
Etsy does
comfortable.
lots of
Oh, I bet
cool
they
Apple
do.
Watch bands, all kinds of. I could get lost there probably for a very long time.
I do like the silicone band because I do a lot of work and I had a fabric type, one of those woven ones, really tight. Is I don't know, it's like a vest a knight would wear with shining armor, you know. But after a while, they absorb they just harbor so much stuff.
So you're saying it stunk?
Yes, Serena, it stunk.
See, I've heard that about the silicone that it gets stinky.
Well, the silicone to me, the thing I don't like about it is like if I'm doing gardening and stuff or something like that, it gets dirt behind it and it just
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of, you got to take it
just
off, but you
stuck
can
there.
wash it off and stuff like that. That's
And
what
the
I do like
dishwasher.
about it.
Is it dishwasher safe?
With your kids
Oh,
and your
Oh, goodness.
there you
And my
go.
dog dishes. Yeah.
Jeez.
Everything.
And the dog
yeah.
dishes.
So you know what's funny is speaking of Apple Watches, I actually have a small crack on my Apple Watch screen that my mom pointed out when we were on vacation. I was so
Aw.
sad.
Way to
But
go.
you know what? We went on Amazon and they have these like screen protector things that you literally just clip right on top of it.
Yeah.
And my screen works even better before I put this on it now, so I'm good to go. You can't even tell.
That's
It's a
cool.
very small crack. Can't even
I
tell.
don't have a screen protector on my watch per se, so it's not like the thing that goes over the screen, but it's a
Mhm.
Little
cheapy little
case, you got the
silicone
bumper.
like a bumper case, and I really like it because it makes my not the digital crown but the side button, it has like a
Mhm.
Sticks out.
sticky out pressy thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
the sticky out see thing. I gotcha.
There's an actual button. It's more tactile.
it is. It's more tactile, so it's very easy to find
love
it.
it.
Yeah,
A
it's
sticky out
it's
pressy
pretty
thing.
late on the East Coast. Someone's turning into a pumpkin.
It's all right. It's all right. I knew everybody knew what you meant.
It has an Audi.
Yes, it has an Audi.
Yeah.
It has an Audi. Exactly.
Yeah.
A sticky out.
It is.
pressy
It's
thing.
more.
I like
It's
It is
funny
more
that you
tactile.
say that, Lisa. Because the one that we have, it makes the crown and the dock button, and it makes them innies.
Oh, funny.
The way that this
Okay.
sits on top of
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
But you can't even tell. Like, I asked Charles, I was like, can you tell? And he was like, not if you're just glancing at it, because it's the same rose gold color. It just sits right on top of it. And now the screen, I think the screen's more responsive now
don't see
than
the
it was
crack.
Well,
before.
this silicone
Mm-mm.
thing is a bear to get off. So it's like I don't change bands. I don't.
Oh,
Have
I
a-
could
I don't have a
imagine.
band collection because I would be losing my mind every day.
Mm-hmm. The bands are not fun to change. You're right. I'm always afraid I'll hit the emergency SOS or something.
Oh, I would never do that. Except I might be lying.
I hate that when
I
you want to
turned
shut your
that
off. I
watch
think it's
off or
a right- I
something.
thought
I
that would
turned
be
that
so
off
I did
because I
too.
couldn't figure out how to turn my watch off without without activating the
Every
emergency
time I
SOS.
dig in my purse, I hold the button down too long because my hand, I'm digging in the bottom.
then it's like,
and
whoop,
then
whoop.
Siri grabs my AirPods away
Oh,
from
yeah.
my phone, and I want to
You have like 6 seconds to
I think
turn off
calling
that SOS.
911 is a rite of passage for every Apple Watch user, I think.
I didn't know you could
Because it's
turn
on
that
by
off.
default. Yeah,
You
you have to
can.
go into the Watch
Yeah,
app and
you
turn
sure
off
can.
emergency SOS.
No,
I
I
might
couldn't.
just do
I
that.
needed to turn my
That's
watch
got
off.
Actually, I think
GTFO.
the watch just
It's too
feels the
dangerous.
heat of
Yeah.
your very red.
It's scary. You go
Yeah.
turn your watch
It
off.
just feels the
Wow.
heat of your
And
very
all of a
red,
sudden-
embarrassed face. And it goes,
Mhm.
oh, you must have called 911. Do you want to turn that off?
Did you
Well,
call
then the thing
911?
that's terrifying about it is like you just don't know if you hit cancel in time. So then you sit there for a few minutes like, oh God, are they gonna send like because it sends it's not just that it calls the authorities, it also sends a text to your emergency
Yes.
contact. Like
Yes.
Sometimes
Oh,
they'll
wow.
but you
call
know
you
what
though.
though? Yeah,
They'll
that's
call-
but that's
they'll
like
call
super
you.
It's a little frustrating though at the same time because my husband activated his on his phone by accident and they called him and they were like, do you need help? And he's like, nope, I'm fine. And I'm like, but what if it was a woman that really did need help and the person attacking her just answered her phone? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you must be like me. You read too much suspense or thriller.
It's all that discovery I
It's that
did.
HLN and
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Oh, when there's nothing on TV, I could watch those all day.
I could watch
Unsolved
Oxygen all day.
mysteries, and oh my god, I could.
I can't
too.
do the unsolved mysteries because I need to have the resolution.
Yes.
Like,
Oh.
I can't do the
You know what?
unsolved.
If you're camping and you want to watch that stuff,
That's
and you don't
that's
have internet,
terrifying.
you can do hot spotting. You can do hot spotting. Have you guys done that?
Yeah, I use
Hotspotted from your
hotspots all
phone
the
to your
time.
computer,
Yeah.
like your laptop. Well, the thing is, here's the problem. All these people that say, "Oh, how to save energy, how to save your battery," they got all these tips. You know, you can go through it and you go, yeah, and then everyone always says, "Well, shut off Wi-Fi. If you're not going to be using Wi-Fi, shut that up because it'll always be searching for it." As soon as you shut off Wi-Fi, do you know what goes wrong on your phone? How many apps come up and say, "We could help you better if you have
And
Wi-Fi
then it
on"?
turns it back on
Yeah.
for you,
Oh.
whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, well, it depends where you turn it off. So if you turn it off in settings, it's not going to just
It
turn it
won't
on.
turn it on.
But if you turn it
Control
off in
center.
Control Center,
Yeah.
it just assumes you just want it
They
temporarily
switched
off,
that a
and then
few
it turns it back on.
versions ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with hotspotting, you have to have your Wi-Fi on
Mm-hmm.
because it's technically working through these channels that it likes it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that, I like to turn it off if I'm not around, especially when you're camping or when you're at a place where you don't have your own Wi-Fi system. You're better off to leave it on because
Yeah.
everything, Bluetooth, everything else works better
I
with
just never
it
turn
on.
it off. I just don't.
Yeah.
I figure
I couldn't possibly waste that much
No,
battery
I've done
power.
troubleshooting and
honestly.
turned
I
it
just-
off and back
if
on, but that's about it.
Yes.
it's only when Zoom crashes or something and I'm on a call and I don't have time to sit and troubleshoot it. I'll turn Wi-Fi off because I know it's probably interference on that 2.4 gigahertz network, and I don't have that problem anymore.
That's another reason I love working from home is because our work Wi-Fi sucked so bad that I
Yeah.
would use my phone as a hotspot all the time because our Wi-Fi was terrible.
See, I've been really lucky. I worked from home before the pandemic, and so when it hit, I really
lucky.
didn't miss a beat. And now they're going back to the office, and I'm sure that creates its own kind of anxieties. And I'm in the enviable position that, again, I'm not transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I do is when I get done with hotspotting, I make sure I shut it off on my phone, even though you're not using your laptop, because when you get home,
That's true.
from experience, when you get
Don't
home,
forget it.
well, your phone doesn't know what to do. Sometimes
Yeah.
it has the
Oh,
Wi-Fi,
yeah.
it's there, but it's hotspot. So you don't get as good, because you ever go to a website and all of a sudden it starts going click,
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't
like
load
the
it.
website is 80% loaded, now 90%. And I was wondering what's going on. I got Wi-Fi, that's better than Serena's, maybe. I went and checked and it was on. I shut it off and all of a sudden, boom, everything's back working fine again. It's like,
Yeah, you have to
make sure
turn
you
personal
shut that off.
hotspot off when you're not using it because that will
Big
drain your
time.
battery.
Oh, yeah.
Having personal
Yeah.
hotspot on
Yep.
all the
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Another thing that came up on Forbes magazine, it's asking if Clubhouse will die the Google Plus death. Was it Google
Yes.
Plus?
Yeah,
or-
Google
I
Plus did
hated
die.
that. It messed up my YouTube account
With
so
all the
bad,
circles and
and they still
weird.
don't know how to fix it.
Twitter Spaces, and then Spotify just came out with the Green Room.
Green room. Yeah.
Mm.
Facebook's got one coming out.
Oh, yeah.
We were obsessed with that for a good 3 months.
I love Clubhouse. Was so powerful.
The Rage back in February, March, April.
I've been looking at it again like this last week. I've glanced because they've done quite a few like accessibility improvements in it. And there's not a lot going on.
Updates.
I mean, there's a lot of Jaws rooms right now because of the conferences.
You know what
but
it
that's
is? It's
about
all
it.
the NFTs have taken a step
I was
back,
so
and
sick
you
of
don't
hearing
see
about
Bitcoin,
those.
Bitcoin. It's so ridiculous.
I will say that I did go in and because one of the things that it pushed out was we've fixed notifications, and they have fixed it. The notifications are not nearly as obnoxious as they used to be. Not even close.
When you're in the hall going down the list, it's so random though, because it's supposed to be putting stuff up that would interest me, or that I don't like their algorithm that is coming up, because I go on there unless there's no people with disabilities anymore. It's really thinned out. It's dramatic.
Yeah, when I used to use Clubhouse a bit, I really only I would go into a couple other rooms on occasion, but there was this one room that was fantastic for about a month and a half. Maybe 2 months, but it was just this really interesting, it was called the Game Industry Cocktail Hour, and it was just basically this, they kept the room up 24/7, and people would just come in and you would chat with them, and there were people helping other people, trying to get into the industry. I got to give my accessibility spiel a few times. It was just this really neat group of people, and honestly, I haven't been into Clubhouse for a month or better, and I wonder if it's still even, I should check it out sometime, maybe this weekend or something.
I think they should have taken the $4 billion.
I can't believe they didn't. That's a lot of money. That's more than Dr. Dre got for Beats.
Yeah.
For Beats?
I'd be happy with a cool $4 bill.
I'd take that. Absolutely.
That'd be good.
To tell you the truth, when they didn't take it, you still thought, you know what? They're holding out because this is really cool. And all of a sudden,
They brought the Android people in, and now we're bored with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that things are opening up and people just aren't. I can't believe that, because I think there are facets of people out there that are just into this audio thing that would have kept it populated. I don't know what it is it's driving.
I think the world opening up does have a big bit to deal with it, though.
It sure coincides with the timing. I think if they put us back on lockdown, you'd see Clubhouse have a big resurgence. And I'm sure as we get sick of working and going back and being with each other and start reverting to the way we were before COVID, where we think, oh my God, I don't want to be with these people, you'll see more people.
Give me my dark cave.
Clubhouse has kind of lost its exclusiveness. And I think for a while that was what was drawing people, because, first you could only have an iOS device and you had to have
invites.
You only had 2 invites at a time.
Many, and then
I still have
people
10
got more
right now.
I
invites.
have 8. I can't give them
I
away.
have 8.
Yeah.
I know. It's now everybody has it, and it's it's like the world, just like Facebook or Twitter. It's not new, it's not shiny, it's not exclusive.
Yeah.
And the same people are hosting rooms day after day.
Yeah.
I see the same exact names. I'm like, what do you do for life?
Here's what I
wondered
wonder if the
about that,
algorithm, are we all seeing the same rooms? This is always in the back of my mind.
I doubt
I always wonder if I came on
I don't
with a
think
different
so.
device, are there really a significant number of rooms and we're just not seeing them?
I think
are
it's
they
more your
feeding us?
account.
Because
I think that there are a lot of
why
rooms
wouldn't
going
it
on
cap
at any given
it?
time.
Though? I'm an English speaker, so if it runs out of things to fill my interest, it should just continue to populate my hallway with rooms that are
and mine does. There's
and
mine
random
does.
stuff.
Mine will stop at 26, 27 sometimes. I'm like,
Oh,
why
I
aren't
get
there 100
weird
rows
stuff
in
in
here?
mine sometimes.
And I get
I can
weird
open it up at
notifications with people
2 in the
that
morning
I
and
follow.
it's dead.
People I follow that are because it's English speaking, so 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it
Come
used to
on,
jump. There would be
Australia,
30 pages
South
of stuff.
Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm?
People in the UK, the Brits would be
Chi
up
Chow
at
in
midnight.
Malaysia.
About the time I'm waking up, the Brits would be getting up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's very awkward when you see somebody that you follow and just it's like an acquaintance, but they're in some weird raunchy room. You're
Yeah.
like, okay.
I try not to judge because
Yeah.
I don't want people.
Well, I
passing
try.
judgment.
I try not to go into the.
It's okay to judge for 3
You know, you're
seconds.
curious about the
just like,
rooms. You know.
There's a couple that I think,
Yeah.
wow, I never knew that about you. I've got
Yeah.
a few of those myself. and
I
kinda
did not
go,
want to know
wow,
that
this-
about you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did. I try not to.
Not
judge.
only are you in this room, but you're on the stage. Okay.
Yeah.
and you're in this room a lot,
And
so I
you-
know you want to be here. You're not just
You
here.
didn't
by
just drop in.
accident.
When you talk about these type of social groupings and stuff like that, the psychology or the timing of everything with the pandemic, everyone was forced into Zoom. Whether you liked it or not, you learned how to get on the Zoom and how to record and how to shut your screen off or turn it on and excuses like that. All of a sudden,
How to mute and unmute.
all of a sudden, here was Clubhouse. Boom. Okay, you didn't have a screen and you could just drop in. It was just audio. It was really neat. It was really cool. But as time went on, there was a change in work too. Because at the beginning of this year, businesses figured it out. This is how we work and we're going to do it. And bosses and everybody else held everybody accountable for working at home. So society, everyone adjusted to all this stuff. And Clubhouse, we outgrew it because now people were full steam working. Now people are hybrid and aiming to go back to work. There's not time anymore for that type of thing. So I think Clubhouse should have took the $4 billion because right now Zoom is really situated really good. And everyone's kind of got their groove on now on how they're connecting up.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'll be curious to see in the winter if it changes once people have kind of settled back into whatever their hybrid schedule is going to be and we get used to kind of whatever it is
Yeah.
we're
The
going
house
to do
more.
again.
Mhm.
And the weather gets
Yeah.
colder and people get a little more hermity and then they want to be outside barbecuing and
Knock on wood, but it's like, are we going to see a resurgence of this stuff, and are we going to have to lock down a little bit more again? We don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Well,
So-
there's always going to be green room and spaces and all sorts of stuff now, but they had the upper edge, just like Zoom had the upper edge. They just flicked the switch and they were billionaires.
Wish I had Zoom
No
stock.
kidding.
Oh my God. I wish
Clubhouse
I-
could have been billionaires,
God.
but I mean, I'm sure they're doing fine, though. Like you said, Rocky, we don't know how many rooms there are. We might be locked into this algorithm that doesn't allow us.
Well, let me out because when I have insomnia, I need good stuff to listen to, not this boring NFT stuff. I want something interesting.
I, for one, am so grateful that when everything went to lockdown, we went to Zoom. Like the world kind of went to Zoom because it could have gone to
Right,
go to
yeah.
meeting
Yes.
or the
Go-to
Citrix.
is the worst.
Yo.
Teams.
Not
Yes.
nearly as bad as
Yes.
that Adobe
Oh,
one,
Adobe's
though. Adobe
the
Connect. That
worst.
one's
That
way
was
worse.
awful.
That, yeah.
WebEx.
I was really nervous at first. I'm like, what are people going to do? Yes.
Google-
there are
Google
so
had
many
one.
that are bad.
The Google one's
and, like,
accessible.
Yeah,
It's
Google Meet's
Google
not
Meet is
bad.
awesome.
If they had to,
Yeah.
You know
Yes.
what?
but if they had to pick any, I'm really glad they picked Zoom.
Google Meet is powerful.
We use
I was
Google
really
Meet. I love it. We use both, actually.
I was impressed. I had a meeting with the rep and they called me on Google Meet. It was really nice and accessible.
It's very accessible.
My friend and I got really into using Discord.
Discord's good too. Everybody's on Discord these days, it
Yeah.
seems like. Everyone says, find us on Discord.
Yeah, we'll see. I got vaccinated, so I'll be able to see what happens in the next year or two. So
Well,
it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
we got vaccinated and traveled a month after we had our full vaccination status. It felt good to get out.
that's what I keep telling myself. That's what we got the vaccine for. So quit being
Yep.
worried about going. Just go.
I
Yeah.
like being a hermit. Thank you very much.
Me too.
Well, I put my vaccination record card that they gave me in my passport. So I have that with me in case they ask, have you been vaccinated? Do you have proof? And what you should also do is take a picture of it just because, in case you don't find the card.
I will say in Colorado, at least, I did not know this, that the vaccination cards do not automatically have your name on them. They just have the dates.
really?
So you might have somebody, at least in Colorado, they
Whoa.
do. Because my husband and I both have, and he's like, they don't have our names or anything on it. I was like, well, at least I know the dates. But yeah, you might have to get some help to actually
I'll
fill
have to
them
look
out.
at mine and see. I didn't even look at it. I said, I
Yeah.
got
I
vaccinated,
didn't
whatever.
either. I just put it in the sleeve and
Like I said, it could be different state to state, but ours did not have anything on them. You're supposed to fill it out yourself.
Interesting. Audio description 80p, Serena. What's new with that? Anything going on?
Well, I know the ACB has their conference coming up. I believe it starts July 15th or 16th. I can't remember.
16th it starts.
But they have a whole audio description track that you can do.
Yeah.
And it includes a panel that'll have, all of the streaming people on it, like Comcast, Peacock, I think Paramount's on, all of them. So that's pretty cool.
ACB and NFB both now have new skills for the Amazon Echo devices, brand new skills for their conventions, and they're both streaming all the general sessions, and ACB will stream a lot more of its convention. For ACB, you say launch ACB Media,
I did not know that, Rocky. That's awesome.
and then it has ACB Media channels 1 through 10. So you'll say launch ACB Media 1, ACB Media 2, and those are the different channels.
And they'll tell you what channels things are going to be on.
Just have to look at the schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is the ACB conference free this year?
It is not free.
Okay.
But it must, I mean, I guess if they're streaming some of this stuff, then, but you wouldn't be able to participate in it, if that makes sense. Like ask questions and things.
Right. You have to, the Zoom links to vote and stuff, you need the Zoom links, but all of the conference itself is streamed on ACB radio.
I'm not really into the general sessions as much, but I always like the tech sessions and stuff.
Ah, the toy store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. I have to exhibit at both of them, so it's a kind of a crapshoot as to how many sessions I get to see. But usually, if I miss a vendor at one conference, I can find them at a tech vendor, find them at the next one.
Well, the thing I really like is that ACB puts out a lot of their stuff as podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're working during the day and you don't have time to listen, you can catch it.
You can catch it later.
Yeah. The other thing that is new that I just found it this weekend in the world of described audio, and I guess some other this applies to other channels as well. Hallmark Channel now has described content.
Yep, because they're back in the top however many networks that are on cable. So that was mandated as of July 1 for them.
So some movies are described. I saw some Golden Girls episodes that had description,
Sure.
which is pretty neat. What I wonder, though, is, so I'm picturing you have someone who's deafblind. Is the available, so the text has to be written out so that it can be put into text-to-speech. And they can maybe access closed captioning with a braille display. Does this mean, then, that they can also access text-to-speech descriptions?
I don't think they're implementing it like that because they're doing it as an audio
but
file.
It would be cool.
That would be a great
It's
idea.
too bad. Yeah, it's too bad that they're not
That's a
either.
great
because
idea.
that is
Hold
a
on,
really
back up
brilliant idea.
But if you just
Maybe
get
they are, though, 'cause it's
braille audio description, but you're not getting what the person's saying.
Well, no, you'd have to have both.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe
take the text from the audio.
if the person was saying, if it was part of the movie, the dialogue, it would just be in braille. If it was the description, maybe it would be in parentheses, or 8-dot braille would be used, and there would be a line of 7s and 8s
So you could
under the
distinguish.
description.
Sure.
That's ingenious. It really is. I know that is not
That
how
would be
it's
a great
integrated.
idea,
Because full disclosure, I part-time work for an audio description company, and I can tell you that has never. That's not how it's done.
Probably should be.
I can tell you that now because it's an audio file that's sent over.
It should be. That's brilliant. And you're right. It would open it up to so many people who are braille users. Exclusive braille.
Well, that's where you
users.
come into that dynamic multi-line braille display. That would be more beneficial at that point for a use factor. Because
maybe,
I mean, you wouldn't want to do it on a
Maybe,
14
except
cell. I mean, you'd want.
you can only read with
It'd be hard to
one
follow,
line at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
It's very interesting.
Yeah,
though,
it's
Lisa.
just like
It's a
some of
great
us
idea.
like to read a book, some of us like to watch a movie, and some of us like audio described movies. The three different elements there. I'm sure in the deafblind world, that too would give them an opportunity to have both.
Right.
Both worlds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Way to go, Lisa. That's why you're on the
Because
show.
they're not-
Very
well,
interesting.
they're not hearing the sounds either, like
the music and
slamming doors and things
So
to
there's a
give
lot that would get
additional
missed.
To give context.
info.
Yeah, they need the
so
text and the description.
they would need description more, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rocky,
Jeff?
how's San Francisco Lighthouse and Adaptation Store doing?
It's good. We're busy. It's ironic that we haven't even really fully reopened for face-to-face business, and probably won't for another 2 months yet. And yet we're super busy. We're exhibiting at the council, so if you're visiting on Zoom, stop by the virtual exhibit hall. If you want to pay us a visit, we'll be there. And we've got a new thing. Can I shameless plug for Mad Lab?
Oh, yeah. We're all about things.
So we've got a new thing, and I encourage all of you, if you're interested, if you're a Braille user, to check it out. So one of the newest things that has launched is a program that our Media and Accessible Design Lab produces all of our in-house Braille. It's called Touching the News, and it's kind of the brainchild of the discussion about what good is it to have these things if people can't get access to them or emboss them themselves. So we were talking about how do you access the graphics that come from the news. They pull like 3 graphics each week. And it was like one week it was the ship stuck in the Suez Canal and just different things that make headlines. And they vote on the 3 most interesting headlines to try to produce a graphic, and Mad Lab will produce it. And we're disseminating these probably on the subscription model, where we'll send out graphics every couple of weeks to people who sign up for them. So we're just trying to right now gauge people's interest and see if they'd be interested in signing up for a year's worth of news-oriented graphics at one time, or if they would like to pick and choose from the website among the graphics and receive them sort of piecemeal. We're kind of trying to figure out the pricing structure. It's a product that literally was created in just a few weeks back, and we've kind of launched it in a sort of a soft trial mode at the conferences and are kind of explaining what it is. All of the Mad Lab products are on sale this month. So if you're looking for on-demand tactile street maps of any particular area, you can type in an address and have a map produced of that neighborhood, the surrounding streets and intersections. If you're looking at learning a new area, we have the tactile intersection diagrams still, of course, and our Braille and print tactile greeting cards that we sell, and all the other Braille products, the UEB products and the Apple user guides and stuff that we sell. All of that is discounted for the month of July for the convention special, and those are automatically applied at checkout. So if you need any Braille or you purchase anything through adaptations.org, you'll receive your discount automatically at checkout. But if you have an interest in touching the news, or you'd like to learn more about it, or you think you're interested in just having a look at some of the graphics that are part of our current headlines, part of current events, and you're interested in learning more about it, or you have feedback, we'd love to hear from people. You can email TTN for touching the news at lighthouse-sf.org. You can talk to the folks in the Mad Lab department and let them know that you heard about touching the news and you'd like more information, and they will email you back with more info. So it's one of the things that we're launching, and we're really excited about it.
That's really neat. Those maps are really cool. Last time I was at convention, they were printing them right out at the exhibit booth. And what was really neat about it is when they came to my address, they kind of took a look at the map and said, "Oh, you're not in a busy area." So they expanded the area to include a larger area, because I'm not like in a downtown setting. I'm more in a suburbia setting. And so they just changed the scale and printed it up. And I found my neighborhood all the way around the block and the whole thing. It was kind of cool, especially because you know your neighborhood a little bit, that you can, work it out.
Sometimes people take a new job. I remember when I took this job in San Francisco. I don't live in San Francisco. I commute in from 80 miles away. I knew nothing about it. Every time I'd exit the BART station, I'd come out of the train station from a different entrance, and I'd have to spend 15 minutes going, "Oh my God, where am I?" And I'm so close. And GPS doesn't work, of course, because all the buildings are tall and we're in downtown, and it just throws the signal all over the place. So it tells you you're in one place and it just never updates. And so I'm shaking the phone and where am I? And trying to read street signs and asking people for directions. And so finally I was like, "Look, man, I need a map. I can't handle this anymore. I just need to see how these intersections are laid out right in this immediate 6 blocks." And I spent about a half hour with it. Boy, what a lifesaver. And then we have maps of the train stations also. So that was just it was really helpful just to get a picture in my mind of how things were laid out. Because, one guy went to get a new dog and he had a map done of the loading lounge area that they train out of when he went to get his dog. So he was able to get a sense of what the immediate streets were around that building, and just weird places that you find you just want to know. Sometimes they can map in pedestrian pathways and different things. Like Jeff said, the scale is set by default to an aspect ratio that works pretty much for everyone. But if you're in a more rural setting or an area that's not super urban and you want to zoom it out to show more area, they can do that. And sometimes that's really advantageous because you can see railways and bike trails and rivers and all kinds of.
We got the Burlington running through here. Warren Buffett, thank you. And that's a neat spot, especially in Braille, because you can find that. And that's usually a straight line and it's a certain shape to it, So I could reference that because I know where that runs. It's like, okay, once you get a bearing, then you can move anywhere and just kind of move around. So it was really neat. And we'll put a link. We got a link right now in the show notes for the Lighthouse and the adaptation store, but we'll put that at
TTN, Touching the News.
Touching the News, that's
Touching the News at lighthouse-sf.org. If you want to have questions or you're interested in a subscription, send email off and let them know you heard about it on Blind Abilities.
There you go. Jesse.
Yes.
Illegally Cited, your YouTube channel.
Things have been actually quite busy over the last month and a half or so, but fun. We've had the Microsoft event, we had the Apple WWDC, but then there was also in June several different events related to gaming, and we had the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3. It would happen digitally this year, so I try to cover a lot of that type of stuff as I could. Usually every year they'll have different manufacturers and companies. They kind of do their own little sort of press briefing. So you get one from Microsoft, and Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct, and a few other big places Capcom had one, and there's just a few major publishers and stuff had stuff. And then Jeff Keighley did his kind of summer of gaming intermixed with the E3 because not everyone decided to attend E3 this year. So the last couple of years has been really interesting. Usually E3 is a week of just solid announcements and people go down there and they get to take a look at things and report on what's coming out and everything. But with COVID and then just some other stuff going on and just it being digital, it's kind of been this weird almost summer of gaming. Sony actually has another event tomorrow afternoon, a little shorter, what they call State of Play event they're going to be doing. Nintendo just announced a OLED version of their Nintendo Switch console that is coming out in October now, which I'm on the fence of as to whether I want to acquire said device. So it's been really busy. And then I also attended the third annual XR Access Symposium, which is, I found out about XR Access last year during another, I forget what conference it was, but they had a session about it and it was pretty fascinating. And XR Access, xraccess.org, is this organization where you can join it for free if you want to. You can be active in it, as active as you want to be or not. I joined it last spring, and they kind of did a retooling of it late last year. And so they're kind of just starting to roll back into things again. But they are basically trying to get a bunch of people from the industry, be them consultants, professionals, developers, and they are trying to kind of forward the XR accessibility, which is the term that they use for virtual and augmented reality. So they had this 2-day long symposium where they had different speakers and breakout rooms and stuff, all via Zoom. And, we just kind of tackled different things, different topics. And, because right now, game accessibility, there's a lot happening right now. And it's actually a really, really cool time to see a lot of things happening with game accessibility, flat screen game accessibility. But VR, that's kind of been a thing now since 2015 or so. And I've been in it from the beginning with my Oculus Rift and now the Quest, and it's just not really progressing forward as far as any consumer level accessibility software or layers on your dashboards or anything like that, whereas a lot of these other consoles and stuff are even having that kind of stuff now. The PS5, Xbox Series X and S, they all have built-in screen readers that work quite well. The games themselves need to also add their accessibility, but even some of those are starting to add more. So I attended all those different things and did a little bit of stuff, on the YouTube channel and even on the Twitch stream, twitch.com/illegally cited as well. And, there's just been, keeping up the usual content, be it just taking a look at random PC games or console games if I can get them, doing a few hardware reviews, taking a look at some accessibility, or iOS or PC accessible games, like audio games or voiceover accessible games. Hopefully in the next few days I'll have a review for the M1 iPad coming out. I just did a review of another tablet stand here today. So yeah, there's a lot of content coming out on the Illegally Cited YouTube channel. And yeah, it's not really going to be slowing down anytime soon. Keeping busy. And then on top of that, I'm doing I've gotten a few cool little game accessibility consulting gigs and opportunities as well. So there's a lot happening. Keeping busy even outside of work. So
there you go. Yeah, check it out on YouTube. Yeah. Lisa, saving the best for last, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. So Hadley it's been about a year that the new website was launched, and a lot has changed. So if you haven't taken a look at Hadley in a while, you might want to consider revisiting it.
It's great.
The focus now is more on workshops. So just as an example, I took Unified English Braille, and I learned and sadly forgot more than I will ever need to know, but I really just needed the basics. So now the model is, instead of having to go through these lessons and do the entire course, you can pick and choose individual workshops that are most helpful to you. And if you get stuck with logging in or creating an account or accessing the content, we have people, me included, who are happy to help you. And you can find Hadley's website at hadley, hadley.edu. If you need to reach me about Hadley-related things, my email is lisa@hadley.edu.
That's great. Myself, I got this little journey going through hockey a couple of years ago. I started playing blind hockey for the Minnesota Wild blind hockey team, and then got invited prior to the pandemic, to try out for the U.S. hockey team because the coach saw me playing, and that was kind of neat to have that happen. But then the pandemic happened, so time went by, and we had another festival out here, and I was invited to actually play with the United States blind hockey team, actually play against them as we put together a team from people from across the nation. It's quite exciting, and from that I got an invite from the coach I'll be traveling to Chicago here. We have the Windy City Showdown, where a bunch of players from across the nation and two sisters will be there on the U.S. hockey team. They'll be there. All of us will be there. They divide up the teams, and we go through like 3 or 4 games with a lot of practices and a lot of coaching basically going on. And then from there, we go out in August, we go out to Utica, New York, where it'll be the evaluation and tryouts determination on who's going to be on the team. It's quite exciting, a journey that I'm on, especially at my age, playing against some pretty youthful players. But to keep it up, it's just, I can't wait another 30 years to put on the skates. So it's now or never. So it's kind of fun. When you're talking about this exercise and stuff like with the Peloton, and I got the Concept 2 rower and everyone else doing, whatever they're doing, getting their steps in and stuff like that. I've picked it up a little bit here too, because Chicago's coming, and stamina, as you get older, it's harder to keep up, but it's fun right now. It's really a lot of fun.
Very cool.
I think that's so exciting. I've never seen blind hockey before, ever. I think that's so cool.
I want to thank all you who are still listening. Thanks for listening to Tech Abilities. We do this every other week. Yeah, and if you have any feedback you want to give us a call at 612-367-6093. How's that, Serena? Did I say it slow enough?
Thank you.
I kept waiting for the whole episode. Is he going to drop the phone number?
And then cue our funky music, right?
And for more podcasts with the Blind News Perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message and let us know if we can put your voice on the next podcast. Drop us an email at info@blindabilities.com, and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, through these challenging times, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.